Hey everybody, welcome to Pounding Rocks Truck Shop. I am Dr. Rocks, and this is a 1970 Datsun 521 project update. August 27th, 2023. What a great time to be alive. What a mess. Anyways, so last video we discussed where the starting point would be on this project. And it's one of those things where it's like everything has got to kind of line up, and then certain things will fall into place, and then other ones got to patiently wait their turn to be installed. And other times you're going to put something in and you're going to realize, oh man, it's too early for me to put that in. I got to take it back out. I'm trying to avoid that at all costs. But if you look at what I've got going on here, this may look like a mad mess, but it's somewhat organized. I know where things are. I'm discovering what I have. Sometimes I'm going through a box and I'm like, oh, cool, I can't believe I have that. Wow, that's great. I don't have to go online and look for one. Things like that. I have extras of things that I have, no need for. I will probably post those online when the project is done. But as it stands right now, the last video that we did, we discussed installing the wiper motor and the wiper transmission first. So I cleared the dashboard out of the way. You saw that. And there's the wiper motor. And on a 521, the wiper motor installs right here. And the linkage goes through here. And then there's a hole for one wiper pivot and the hole for the other wiper pivot. All the linkage and everything runs on this side of the dash, on the back side of the dash. And I have all that. So I had to clean up a bee's hive that was in this hole. It's old, it was dead. They had built up on both sides of the hole, and so I just kind of popped it out and knocked it to the floor and picked it up from there. So we're good there. There's no other bees nests in that area, so I'm good there. There's no live bees nests on this truck, which is even better. I was sizing this up to see how I wanted to do it, and doing some research on it. 521 owners and older Datsun owners, especially of this era, probably know this. I kind of discovered it because I'm kind of used to the 80s and 90s era of Nissan, where everything on the truck is metric. That's not the case with the 521. What I've found out, and I did some reading on this, and thank you to the Datsun website and the Datsun page on Facebook and a few other Datsun related pages. All the body bolts are standard SAE. I'm finding out that they are not only SAE, but they are SAE fine thread. So you're looking at like 1/4 inch by 28, not 1/4 by 20, not 1/4 by 18, not 1/4 by 13, none of that. 1/4 by 28, and I figured this out mainly because this bolt here is on a moving, like a sliding nut here behind that metal there. I had this bolt left over from something I took out of the cab, and I had it threaded in, and it wouldn't start all the way. So a lot of these bolts on this truck, a lot of these bolt holes have frosted over a little bit, making starting a bolt almost impossible. I've tried to get bolts to start for the radiator, and I've had no luck. And now that I've kind of dealt with this, I now have a game plan for the radiator holes. I have a chaser set here. This I put together using different snap-on kits, and I've got my metrics, I've got my taps, I've got my chasers, I've got my cleanup dies for nuts. I've got my chasers for standard coarse and standard fine. I got lucky in the fact that I had a 1/4 by 28 chaser here. I don't know if you can see that, but it says 1/4 by 28. Well, guess what? The nuts on this heater core were frozen pretty good, so I used my concoction of 50/50 acetone and 50/50 ATF. And it broke all these nuts loose. So what I did is I chased all the nuts with this, put them in a vise and cleaned them out. And this in here is a quarter by 28 chaser die for nuts, or for the actual bolts themselves. So this threads right onto all 4 studs on this heater core. So this is good to go. This is ready to go. I was a little worried that I was going to get kind of stopped here just because the hardware was frozen, and I'm like, oh man, I'm going to have to buy more hardware. I don't have any 1/4 inch, very much of anything in this place. I have some household items that I've purchased over the years, but in terms of automotive, I have nothing but metric from all the 80s and 90s Nissans I've had over the years. So lacking in hardware. The only hardware I have is what this truck came with. That's scattered through many different, I'm sorry about the glare. We have sunlight coming in through the windows here, and I don't even know what to do with it. We haven't had much sunlight this year. We've had nothing but rain. So, yeah, I'm still going through bags of hardware that this thing came with. The guy tried to preserve everything. He wrapped everything up in newspaper. He put the nuts with the bolts. He put the bolts on whatever he could. He was very meticulous. I gotta say, this guy was very meticulous on how he took this apart. But I don't know what happened. As I said in one of the previous videos, he may have met a different dimension due to old age. He may have had an accident. I don't know. Truck was left in this condition, and it sat for 40 years, and things got lost. We know that. That's all previous video stuff. You know that I went to the junkyard out south of me. There's a 72 sitting out there. It doesn't look very good. There's probably maybe a couple more pieces that I'd want, but I grabbed the back glass off of it. So now I've got a brand new windshield gasket or back glass gasket that came with the truck, and I have a back glass. So that's awesome. That takes care of that. And I didn't want a slider. I wanted a solid back glass the way they come from the factory. The other thing I got was this dashboard, which I'm going to cut up and use for parts to fix mine. And I am running out of time here, so I don't want to waste everybody's time. I split the dashboard into 2 pieces. That's the 67 dash. It's a metal top, and it is a metal bottom. I went with a Rust-Oleum candy apple red, shot it a few times. Then I got the switches back in it. I got the cluster here, and the top is a semi-gloss. And I'm just going to put the 2 of them back together and then eventually get them in the cab here. But for now, they're going to stay out, and I'm going to work on the wiper transmission and the heater core. This piece here is the fresh air duct, and that goes here. I need to come up with hardware for that and figure out exactly how that goes. And I still have to pull the steering column and figure out what's going on in the gearbox. That is the project as it stands right now. Like, share, and subscribe. Leave me a comment down below. I have parts coming from it. I'll show you in the next one. See you guys. Take care. Pounding Rocks signing off.